Talk about some moments in my life that it like literally completely changed my aspect of money, like absolutely completely changed it, right? There are some key moments that really just it changed everything. It literally did. And the first one for me, it's a very small one, but the first one for me, I was just posting on social media, posting shit, and someone was like, "Hey man, like I paid $50 for a shout out." I was like, "You pay me 50 fucking dollars, bro? That's like 3 hours of work." I was like, "No way, bro. No way." And he's like, "Yeah, I'll pay you 50 for a shout out." So he paid me 50 for a shout out. I think I had like 50K followers at the time, and I was like, "Dude, I can make money on social media." And then the next moment for me was, what was the brand called? That was this brand. They sent me some shit for like showers or some shit, right? I think it was for showering or some shit. But they sent me some shit. It was like a body wash. Yeah, they sent me like a body wash, and they're like, "We'll pay you $300 for 2 posts." I was like, "What the fuck?" That shit changed my mind initially back in the day, right? That was like 2017, right? And there was barely anyone making like, there was the people making a bunch off social media, and then everyone else was just like didn't know what the fuck was going on with social media. So that was like some of the first times that I seen. The next times were way more significant, right? There was a specific trip that I went on. I went to Tampa. I went to see my homegirl and my homeboy, right? And they changed my absolute fucking mind on everything, right? So let me rewind it a little bit. So back in like 2017, right? I remember I went to Tampa to get my golds or whatever, right? My slugs. And the chick, she was looking at me because I was like 215 solid, 210 solid. She was looking at me. She's like, "Oh my God, are you an online coach?" And I'm like, nah, I'm just, she was flirting heavy. But anyways, she was like, "Are you an online coach? So you like a fitness coach?" I was like, "Nah, I do some social media, but I'm a nurse." And she's like, "Oh, okay, I could have sworn you're an online coach." So that kind of planted in my head. I was like, maybe I could be an online coach, because people are saying that to me. I don't know. I don't know if that works, right? And then, fast forward a couple years later, I end up getting a deal with the gym. That shit changed my aspect of money too, because I'm over here busting my ass as a nurse, working 16-hour shifts 5 days a week, and then I was making less than what the gym ended up compensating me for, a 3-month contract, per month. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm making more in this month working with this gym than I did, a month and a half working as a nurse, working COVID, time and a half pay and shit. So that's crazy. So anyways, I ended up going to Tampa, and I hung out with the homegirl, and like the whole time hanging out with her, I'm like, "Yo, like, I just saw you upload on social media, but I'm with you right here. Like, how did that happen?" She's like, "Oh, I got a team doing this, and that." So I'm just like, I'm kind of absorbing like the way she's living, like her freedom, like she had a lot of freedom. She had like a lot of freedom, time freedom. She could do whatever she wanted to, and she had a team working with her, and she ran me the numbers, and like it took me about 6 months to actually understand like how the fuck did she run it. Like the numbers were insane, bro. Like even if I told you guys aren't gonna believe that shit. Like she showed me the numbers, she told me the numbers as well, and I was like, holy shit, that's crazy, right? It was hard for me to fathom because I was like, I never heard anything like that. Then I went to go see my homeboy, right, in Orlando. My homeboy is in Orlando, so I went to go see my homeboy in Orlando, and he's like, "Yeah, man, this is how much I made online." Bro made like 15K in a week or some shit. I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, nah, bro, that's not possible, bro. Show me, bro. He showed me. I was like, yo, I don't know what the fuck's going on, bro. This was like in 2021? I was like, bro, this is not possible, bro. That's more than I'm making like 3 months, bro, as a nurse. And I'm like, bro, this ain't possible. This ain't possible. Those are just somewhat of moments that absolutely shattered my concept. But the only thing is, like, the reason I wasn't at that level was because, first of all, I didn't believe it was true. So when you don't believe something's true, you're going to be blind to it happening, right? And that's a big one. Like when you don't believe something's true, you're going to be blind to it happening. And so if someone is making a lot of money, you're like, that's not possible. Fuck that shit. He's lying. He's a scammer or some shit like that. It's like, okay, you just denied that reality. So now you're going to exist only in the reality that you believe, that you have to work 80 hours a week to make 10K a month or some shit like that, right? And I'm seeing, I've even seen, I went to a personal trainer event 2 years ago, last year, and I saw some people with way less followers than me, 2,000 followers, making 15K a month, making 20K a month, and I'm looking at them like, damn, how the fuck are they doing it? It all stems in the mind. Like that's why I always talk about mindset. Everything stems in the mind. When you believe some shit could happen, that means everything in your mind is going to say, okay, this is possible, which means everything that you do is going to be without doubt. You're going to be more intentional with your actions. Most people, but the only reason they're not making money is because they have a lot of self-doubt, a lot of I'm not gonna say self-confidence issues, just self-doubt. Self-doubt is gonna prevent you from getting the experience needed to build the self-confidence in that arena, or to build the confidence in that arena. Like when I was doing in-person training, I told my fitness manager, first thing I told him, right? Because this is when I was coming from the other gym job where I didn't do good because I was skinny. This time I was pretty swole. I was bigger than I am now. So I was pretty swole, but I was telling my fitness manager, first thing I told him, because I had limited, mindset, I had a negative mindset. I was like, hey, I suck at selling. He's like, you don't suck at selling. I'm gonna show you how to sell. I was like, okay, but I suck. I'm not good. And he's like, okay, I got you. He showed me how to sell. He walked me through it. And then, at that time I read Napoleon Hill and I just started embracing rejection. Like I got rejected by like 100 people at the gym, just going up to them, talking to them. But I improved through the, rejection. Most people would quit after 50 notes. Like they go over 50 and be like, it's over. I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyways because I'm here. So I just went like over fucking 100. I'm not exaggerating. I went over a fucking 100, bro, plus, right? Over like 100 plus. And then finally someone said yes and I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? Why'd they say yes? I was like, oh, fuck it. Right, and then I ran up through the process and then boom. Had success. And then I was like, oh, okay, so this shit does work. Like I can make this happen, right? I can make this happen. And that's all it takes. It takes one time for you to be like, I can make this happen, for it to actually fucking happen, right? But the negative mindset that you have, negative mindset that's been implanted in you, all that shit is usually what the issue is. Another thing that changed my mindset on money is obviously like the nursing contracts and shit like that. But, I was dating some chick, right? And she was a nurse at the hospital, but she picked up a contract, so she was making like $15K a month off the contract, bro. Like I was like, what the fuck? And she was barely working. Like every shift she worked, they're like, we really need you, and she'd just wake up and she'd be like, should I go today, Luther? And I was like, yeah, do your thing, man, fuck it. She was like, all right, well, it is like 1,500 today, but I'm only staying for 10 hours. I'm not doing a 12-hour shift. So she making, 1,500 in 10 hours. I was like, God damn. Yeah, she was making like 15 to 20K a month just off of, during the COVID time. And that was changing my concept of money too. So there was a lot of moments, meeting a lot of different people who just looked at things differently. Because when someone tells you some shit like, oh, you can make money doing this, some goofy shit, or if someone says, without lifting a finger, you can go from 0K a month to 70K a month. Obviously they're fucking lying, because if you don't lift a finger, you're cooked. But when you see people who make what you consider, ridiculous amounts, it shatters your current reality. But then when you see how they approach it, you're like, oh, this is real, right? Because if you see someone who's like, yeah, I make this much a month, and they're just like like that, obviously they're lying. But when you see someone, they're like, yeah, this was a bad month for me. Made 20K as a nurse, so I got to do better. Shit like that. And I also had a nurse buddy who was like traveling the country, doing travel nursing for a long period of time. He was in like I think he's still in his 30s now, but he was in his early 30s, right? He was making like 400K a year doing, travel nursing and shit like that. So just knowing, like, interacting with these people, most of them I met on the gym or online, but like just interacting with these people just made me realize, like, okay, the only reason, I'm not on this level is because I'm not thinking like them, because I don't even think it's possible. That's my first issue. My first issue, I didn't think any of that shit was possible, right? I was super negative. I didn't think any of it was possible. I was like, okay, you could only make, 4K a month is good, 3K a month is good. Work your ass off and make 3K a month. That's good. And I was working with that. You feel me? I was happy as fuck in 2017 making 3K a month. You know what I'm saying? I was content, smashing holes and shit, chilling. But that's low level thinking, right? That's low level thinking. That's low level thinking to just stay there, right? But I thought that was good money. I was like, oh yeah, because if you focus on like hourly rates and shit like that, you'll think 4K a month is good or some shit like that, or 3K a month is good. I was making 3K a month. I was living off of it pretty easily because I'm pretty cheap anyways, and I'm very conservative with my spending and stuff like that. But I just want you to realize that anything you put your mind to is really possible, but not because you just say that shit's possible. Because when you say something and when you think something and you put intention in it and you put energy towards it, it's gonna happen. All right.